Our very own Kennedy spoke with Gary Johnson in an interview. It's going to air later on tonight at 8 p.m. And Johnson, well, he tried to explain his confusion. Let's take a listen.
As much as I hate to say it, just knowing ahead of time what the issues are, very quickly, that wouldn't have been an issue, would not have been an issue.
Joining me now, Morgan Ortagus and Christian Whiton. Okay, Morgan, so what do you make of his explanation and what happened today?
I like that he was forthright and came out and said, I screwed up. That at least he was honest about it, as opposed to sometimes politicians just double down on the stupid things they say. But I don't know that there's much of an excuse for not knowing about this. Beyond whatever you think about American intervention or lack thereof in Syria over the past 4 or 5 years, Aleppo, as you pointed out, is the home to genocide, to mass murder. It's a base for ISIS. So I don't know how you run for the President of the United States and not know this. And I understand that he apologized, but I think, personally, the Republicans that were on the fence about voting for Donald Trump or for him, if you have any sort of national security focus, I think that you went over to the Trump camp after he made that statement today.
Christian, Aleppo, Raqqa, Syria in general, they pose an amazing challenge for whoever the next president is. What are your thoughts? Because historically, it has marked the domination or siege of Aleppo has marked sort of who was the crowning jewel, if you will, of conquerors throughout from the beginning of time.
Yeah, but I just think for an American presidential candidate, it's not that big of an issue. I know the Twitterverse and the talking heads love to make a big deal out of something and seem smarter, but the fact is there have been humanitarian tragedies around the world. Some we have become involved in, others thankfully not, including things like Rwanda, the killing fields in Cambodia. Our powers are strong, but they're not infinite. And incidentally, American voters don't care about Aleppo. I think they care about ISIS and they care about radical Islam, but it's not a big deal, frankly, to me.
But if you care about ISIS, don't you have to address Syria, not just Aleppo, but Raqqa? And ultimately, if you do care about ISIS and cutting off their head, then you have to have a strategy for Syria.
Right, but this was different. This was a gotcha question from a journalist. Now, how do you deal, and the issue isn't the humanitarian tragedy. That's the end result of radical Islam and of a incompetent Western policy. The humanitarian tragedy, that's frankly more of an issue for Europe. If this were happening in Mexico and Central America, it would be more of an issue for us. But this is something that Europe ought to be stepping up to handle. And the idea that we're going to alleviate harm and suffering in this part of the world without a broader strategy to deal with radical Islam, when it came back to the real question, which is what do you do about Syria, he answered it quite well, I thought.
Morgan?
Syria and what we're going to do with ISIS is an incredibly complicated subject that is hard to boil down in television. And I feel for the candidates in a way. It's hard to do it as well. There is a period of time, the first few years, that I think we really could have made a difference in Syria, maybe could have gotten Assad out if we took action. The next president, Trump or Clinton, likely, are going to inherit a mess. And I think that this is something that I hope that the American people and the candidates will both take time to really think out and talk about, because it's going to be really nasty next year.
And the role of Russia and Turkey also making it a lot more complicated. Guys, thank you again. Appreciate it.